Hi, everyone. Welcome to my podcast series, Taking Wellness and Fitness to a New Level. I'm Dr. Jane Montero, and I've been in art education since 1989. This podcast is an outgrowth of the Michigan Art Education Association Wellness and Fitness seasonal digital news publication I created last winter to bring our members together in a community of inspired art educators. In today's episode, titled Relishing Retirement, I'm delighted to have my colleague and friend, Cindy Todd, with us. Michigan's Dr. Cindy Todd serves as NAEA's president. She was in the trenches teaching all levels of K through 12 art over the course of 14 years before taking her talents to the university level as the chair of art education for Kendall College of Art and Design. Her fingerprints are all over some of the most exciting models in education today, including the Grand Rapids Public Museum School, a testament to her belief that design thinking and the arts belong at the center of learning. Her commitment to excellence and leadership has been recognized with multiple accolades, including both the Michigan and National Art Educator of the Year awards. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome, Cindy. How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's a perfect day where I live.
Yeah, I love this. The May weather. We're almost all there, almost.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you some questions about being retired, and I know you're not just totally like retired doing nothing, but I want to ask you some questions to share with our members. And the first question is, how many years have you been retired?
4 years, almost to the day.
Wow.
That first Saturday in May is when we had graduation and done.
Wow. And before we get to the retirement part, I'm going to back up for a second and ask you, what did you love most about teaching art education?
I loved the students. It's probably a very common answer.
Mm-hmm.
I loved their eagerness to learn, the relationships that you build. You know, you're always in your relationship. You're also building the student, right? You're learning from each other, but they're learning a lot in those big growing years. I think that I loved when I could be instrumental in saving them, sometimes literally from peril, right? You know, you probably had some students there where you reached in and pulled them out of very terrible situations, but then also, you know, their academic woes, right? They have all sorts of obstacles. And I really, I'd say the fulfillment part of my job was when I was able to remove those obstacles. You really have a, you know, particularly as a professor, you have a cape. You're literally making a real difference in that you can see what you've done for them. I remember having lots of those experiences with the K-12, different levels that I taught, but particularly those young adults who are working on their art education degree and dealing with a lot of adult situations when they're really not all the way there. That brain still has till 28 to finish developing, and they're still dealing with a lot of trauma and things that you can be very instrumental about. So I love to see them at the conventions and the conferences. I love those student reunions that I have. It's wonderful.
Yeah, you know, it's so true when you talk about the higher ed world, because I sort of jumped into that this past year, and it's a whole different deal, the relationships and the communication piece. And I was kind of so surprised at just how truly honest they were about things going on in their lives, because I guess coming from where I had been at the middle level, I didn't really get a lot of that backstory so much. We would just sort of see how they were at school, you know, and to hear from them all the time, it's like, it's interesting, huh?
Yeah, 100%. You're having those adult relationships and solving problems with them. Very different.
Yeah, for sure. So now to jump back to retirement, actually before, when you decided to retire, how did you envision spending your time?
Well, it's funny. It's very hard to envision that from the working side of life. Very hard to envision. I am a person who needs to be busy and active. I wasn't sure, you know, and I'd say also there's such a strong tie for me from my job and what I did to who I am. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
always been a teacher, sort of persona, like all the way from being in sixth grade. I knew I wanted to be a teacher and was practicing that in my basement. So I wondered how I would do with not being there to save a student
Mm-hmm.
and just how idle would I be? And I would not be happy idle. So what I envisioned is that I would be working in art, finally having time to do that. I knew I would immerse myself in social situations because there's absolutely no threshold for me in terms of too much social interaction. That is the primary wheel turning in my being. Um, and I really hope to travel. So
Mm-hmm.
those were the things that I thought, okay, I know I'll do these things. I hoped I would get good enough at making art that it would
Uh-huh.
fuel production, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so now that you've been retired, how are you spending your time?
exactly that way.
Oh, that's good. That's
It's
good.
funny because, being able to travel is a gift, right? You can't
Mm-hmm.
count on being able to do that. Who knows with the price of gas at this
Mm-hmm.
point, how much more we could do. But my husband had a very smart person who he encountered as he was getting ready to retire. And he was asking him, do you travel? Are you doing this? And the man said to him, listen, if you want to travel, you got to do it now. You
Mm-hmm.
have to do it while you're still able and when
Mm-hmm.
you want to, because you get a little bit older and you just don't want to do that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And he came home taking that to heart. And so even before we retired, we started to do more of that
Mm-hmm.
um, because he saw that light.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're in a nice cycle of doing, larger trips now,
Mm-hmm.
not waiting to do them
Yeah.
because we know that health wise, I have a knee problem I'll have to take care of probably next summer. And,
Mm-hmm.
that'll put us out of commission until that's all healed.
Yeah.
But things get in your way and
Mm-hmm.
you got to do it while you like it and you want to do it.
Yeah.
And the painting, I say make art before I get to I'm painting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when I was teaching and I needed to make something, I just made it. Whether if it was something coming out of the wall, it could be clay, but if it was something coming off the ceiling, it would have to be paper mache. I had
Mm-hmm.
made some indoor murals with 3D elements and things. So you did what you did. You're a generalist doing
Yeah.
pickup games, right? But now I've upgraded I literally had one of my students come to where I live, one of my graduates,
Uh-huh.
who's very successful at art. She's doing art instead of teaching at this point and really
Mm.
made a name for herself. And I had her come and teach my friends here on the island. We meet once a week to paint. And I had her teach us. And, I saw what paints she used. And that really was a takeoff point for me because I switched paints to something that works so much better with a little bit more instruction and got good brushes. And so I've done a lot of painting here, some with the kids doing murals on the walls and on the street signs and house
Uh-huh.
signs and things that where I live endured a hurricane and it was really completely destroyed. Over 90+% of all the buildings and all the walls, everything
Wow.
was taken down. And so I walk through now and you can see my hand at every part
Uh,
of where I am
yeah.
because I have had the luxury of time to do it. And with
Mm-hmm.
the practice, I can see how much better I've become from when I first got here. I just
Uh-huh.
couldn't practice like that when I was practicing teaching,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
that's just such a boon. So we're
Yeah.
we're doing all those things.
Well, I know it's funny too because it's almost a year since I retired, and definitely the travel component.
Yes.
I mean, it's like I feel like we just can't wait. It's like we just go and we go. And we're like, well, should we go again to see your family in Spain? But of course we should.
Why not?
Yes. So I'm going to jump to ask you a question about what you're doing for your own wellness. But before I do, I have a short snippet to say about what an impact you have made on me that I think about you probably every single day
Oh my God.
because every morning, because I remember when we roomed together in Wichita and
Ah,
you
yes.
got up and did a stretch, like your own stretching while I took a shower. ever since the 1st of January of this year, every day I come down and I do some form of stretching and exercising, about 15 to 20 minutes on different YouTube people that I follow. But I honestly think of you every time.
That's awesome.
So you've made an impact on me
I love that.
once again. So aside from your morning stretching, what
Mhm.
else are you doing for your own wellness?
It's funny. I think my whole life is centered around wellness in, not that I'm a wellness guru,
Hmm.
but then I'm a very positive minded person.
Hmm.
I think that I have an answer to another question you told me that you're going to ask that
Yeah.
I'm going to save that positivity answer, but that aligns with this question. But
Hmm.
I'd say most of my wellness has come from a problem, right? So,
Hmm.
so what you saw me doing was actually like an ab routine in the morning, which I do every single morning because I hurt my back. And
Hmm.
I know that if I keep my abs in my back, I have, it's an ab and back routine, 15 minutes, that I will not have pain. I do not take pain meds for my back.
Hmm.
And if I don't do it, I feel it. And
Yeah.
so that has taught me to make that a routine.
Hmm.
But I have had that with many things. So now I do a whole series of stretches kind of like throughout the day. Literally as I brush my teeth, I'm
Hmm.
stretching the like plantar fasciitis, stretching the back of my I don't know, what is that, ACL,
Yeah.
and the foot and up the calf, because it's, you got a toothbrush that times 30 seconds to each set
Uh-huh.
of, you know and then I switch it out so that I'm doing that in those little bits of time where you're already doing stuff.
Hmm.
I I will do those things. And
Hmm.
as I get ready in the morning, I read a little bit of Bible every day
Wow.
because I feel like the lessons there
Hmm.
help remind me to be a better person,
Hmm.
help remind me to treat others with kindness
Hmm.
and to hold my tongue when I'm going to say something that's going to be hurtful. And
Hmm.
those reminders need to be daily or you just forget them.
Yeah.
So I do a
Yeah.
little bit of that, just centering myself and reminding myself the type of person I want to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's that, to me, it's a routine. So much
Yeah.
of what we do is a routine. And I think that as long as we can, and I mean, yeah, there's going to be times or days or moments where you don't quite do as much as you normally do, but still having that routine is really, to me, critical. And I think that's also part of having been teachers for so many years and being used to a routine. It's 8:05, it's
Yeah.
9:05.
Yes.
So,
Well, and I would say
yeah.
success in that area for that wellness
Hmm.
is to build it into a system that you can you can do it as you move, right?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
have coffee with people every day and I have arthritis in my hands. And while we have coffee, I'm doing stretches as I talk.
Hmm.
So it's idle time in front of my friends. They're used to seeing me do that silliness with my fingers and things that I don't set aside, okay, I need 20 minutes of quiet time sometime in the day to do these things.
Hmm.
I walk a person's dogs who cannot walk the dogs so
Mm.
that I get out and walk a mile every day at the minimum,
Hmm.
right? Sometimes it's longer, but you know, building it into the systems of the day in a way that you don't have to set time away for it is
Hmm.
just into the system.
Yeah,
That's where you're going to have
absolutely.
success. And you can do it all that you want to do by doing that.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So now to jump to what has been the most fulfilling? You've touched on a lot of things, fulfilling so far as a retiree.
I have to say right now, I'm really enjoying the painting side of my life.
Hmm.
That I already mentioned that my ability, I can see my ability has improved just because I'm doing it so often.
Hmm.
Like we paint with the ladies on Wednesdays for 2 hours, and we all have lunch.
Oh,
Who would
fun.
want to go and do that each week, right?
Yeah.
And then painting. I tell you, I've painted so many signs. It's a silly
Mm.
thing, but then just the practice of moving your hand in straight lines and filling spaces has improved my eye hand motor
Hmm.
uh, coordination and my confidence. Like
Hmm.
I know I can make that perfect circle and not go out of that line.
Yeah.
I mean, I just know that I can do that now.
Hmm.
Where boy, it would take all the concentration and maybe a tight grip to be doing that in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying that fulfillment of doing that. And I've set a goal of painting a minimum of 20 paintings to be ready in time for a local art show.
Wow.
I've never painted work and been in an art show. I'm an art teacher.
Yeah.
But no one has time for that.
No, I
So,
know.
yeah, I'm fulfilling that goal that I've had my whole life. Right. And I'm at 14.
Wow. When's the show?
Yeah. There's one in the spring, which is coming up in June.
Okay.
And then there's another in December if I don't make the first show. I have enough with 14. Some are very big that I could do that. But 20 seems like a better number for, that's putting stuff up and replacing it with the next. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's great. It's hard to find that. I think for me that sort of pressure of, okay, I'm going to do art now that I'm retired. So what am I going to do? And for me, it was sort of like, well, printmaking. I've always loved printmaking.
Oh, yes.
So, but I've never done jelly printing because I've never really had success whenever I've been in a workshop. It's always been like a muddied mess. So that's become my thing every single day. I set a little bit up on the dining room table and I just kind of go for it and give it a go. I'm having some success and I'm learning a lot, like what you said about learn, because it's confidence building.
Yeah.
Right? So much of it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the big, wonderful question that I love asking people, what words of encouragement would you like to share with art educators who are just beginning their careers?
Well, I guess this is more advice and encouragement, but I would say what I did to make the most profound difference in my own teaching, and I had a very successful teaching career. I started teaching with what you get from college, which is always very good, but until you put it into practice, you don't know what you listen to in class. Like everyone says, I wish there had been more classroom management. And the reality is, every class I taught classroom management, and then I taught a classroom management class. So there's plenty built into the programs, but the dynamic that's missing is putting it into practice. So you get the classes, and then sometime later, when you go to practice, you don't remember all those words. You only remember 5% of any class that you took. The rest goes into whatever memory, but not accessible memory.
Right.
Until something triggers it. So the best thing I ever did was I started teaching, had my limited success like all new teachers do. Some people are much better than I was as a beginner. But then when I started my master's program, and this was not part of the program, but a good friend of mine, Mia Perlman, and I, she's now Mia Caesar, we went and took an assertive discipline course as a part of our master's program while we were teaching. And like the clouds parted and the angels sang, because I had tried it. This is the feedback loop that every human brain needs. That is a profound learning experience. I learned something. I tried it. I had whatever levels of success and failure. And then I learned it again with some feedback with this class while I continued to practice. So we had this class and we're teaching. And the way I taught was so dramatically different. And I had everyone humming after that. I mean, like having a bunch of kids do all the same thing. I had problems like everybody does, but I could solve those problems because I had skills. Yeah. Feedback loop that changed my world. So I would really encourage new teachers, because this is where they give up and leave. It is no fun if you cannot manage a class.
Right.
So I always say, go back, and now there are all those classes everywhere now. Yeah. You can get them online. And after you've taught for a year and struggled with the process, then do this weekly course while you're teaching and implement it as you go. Yeah. You don't have to write out all the papers. You just take all that stuff and you implement it and you build it into your system over the course of a semester, over 21 days of forming a habit. And so now you have a new system in place, and every semester is a new iteration where you can improve on the model. I would say that's what people really need.
Yeah.
After they've started teaching, to stay in the profession and find joy. Because once you can manage the class, you have the joyful encounters of being able to help those students. The noise isn't your headache.
Yeah.
You've got a clear class and a clear brain, and you can be there and work miracles, which will keep you there forever.
Yeah.
You will enjoy your experience.
Yeah. I mean, once that's under control, absolutely.
Yes.
And then it really becomes about teaching art. And that whole commotion of behavior is way better under control. Changes every time. Changes every class, every year it changes. We're going to end with words of encouragement that you would like to share with those leaning towards retirement. Maybe they've got another year, maybe they got another couple, or maybe it's now.
I would say that before you retire, make some goals. Don't just retire and say, okay, now what do I do? Like, what do I do with my time? Time fills itself up pretty quickly. You'll be shocked at how did I ever do all this stuff while I was working? But if you have some goals, when all of a sudden you've got every day is a Saturday, you're able to get started. You're not stumped. People who don't have a hobby or an interest have a lot of difficulty in retirement. So I'd say first have some personal goals for your time. So I had my 3, which that is how I'm dealing with my time. And I would say challenge yourself. You're going to be bad at whatever you start with your challenge. Let's say you want to play the ukulele or the guitar or really paint with some vim and vigor, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you want to do, your jelly prints, like have something be a challenge that you have to figure out and conquer.
Yeah.
Because that keeps your human brain very plastic and sharp and will stave off a lot of dementia. There's all sorts of studies on how good that is for the brain. So that challenge could be in any direction. Gardening, whatever it is you want to learn. Maybe you want to learn to be a really good chef now, but challenge yourself. And then I'd say allow yourself to indulge in those things that, maybe some quiet time. Maybe you feel like you got to be busy all the time. Like allow yourself to read a book. Give yourself permission and allow that to happen. Just allow yourself things you didn't allow yourself, some indulgences that you didn't allow yourself before.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like, and this is not so much an indulgent thing to do, but grocery shopping. So for my whole life, probably all of us in education, grocery shopping days are Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
Right. And so once I retired, I'm like, I'm not shopping on the weekends anymore.
Yeah.
So now my day is Wednesdays. And because I had a conversation with a friend of mine who had also retired from my same school district last summer. And I said, I'm trying to figure out what's the best day to go grocery shopping. Is it Monday or is it Wednesday? Because you don't want to go Friday because that's before the weekend. She goes, don't go Monday because they're restocking.
Yes.
So it's Wednesday.
Monday or Tuesday is restock. Yeah, right. Yes. Here it's Thursday.
That's so funny. So, Cindy, I thank you for your time. And I'm wondering if there's anything else you wanted to share with our Michigan Art Education Association members or just anything else that I didn't ask that you just want to get out there.
This is that little positivity thing I left behind in the last question. Teaching is hard. Teaching takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of brain work. You're on your feet all day, and it can be exhausting, right? You get a challenging student, and it's a daily event that it takes a lot from you. And part of taking care of yourself in this is to take a minute after that last bell is rung and everyone is out of your classroom, take that big cleansing breath and think about, don't wallow in the things that went bad because it's so easy to be rehearsing that. Do that reflection that makes you better the next time. Think it through, how might you have done it better, but spend your real time rehearsing in your head the things that went well,
Mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes, some days it's very hard to find them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just, something you saw on the way to work. Maybe work was a really train wrecky day, but find the things that went well.
Mm-hmm.
The one kid that said the nice thing, the surprise kid actually turned in their work. Your chance encounter with somebody in the hallway that solved the problem.
Yeah.
What those good things are. Because where you keep your head, if you keep your head in the things that made you angry or the scary things going on in our world today that can really, turn your gears, your cortisone levels be rising to the top, right? You're going to bring on your heart disease, your anxiety, all of those high blood pressure, stressful things. If you take your time back and dwell, don't wallow, dwell on the things that went right, practice some grateful moments, you will see a lightness inside that will allow you to enjoy your days more. Yeah. My daughter used to say with her daughter, tell me 2 goods and a bad.
I like
right?
That.
So you can tell me that bad thing, but tell me 2 good things that happen. I don't care how small they are. To just track that more positive than negative.
Yeah.
And also that gives you a positive conversation to be had. But
that's
spend time there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Especially while you're teaching.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a wrap on our episode number 7, Relishing Retirement with Dr. Cindy Todd. Take care, be well, and I look forward to sharing more podcasts when we get back into the fall of this coming school year. Take care.